My dear Doramita, I guarantee this story will make you laugh a whole lot. Don't miss it, I'm telling it to you right now. I'm Ms. Resman and let the spoilers begin. The story begins with Ye Fei Mo, the CEO of a massive film production company called Ainin Culture. He is currently in a meeting with an American firm to discuss a potential partnership on an upcoming movie project. However, one of them mentions that they hired the actress Han Hui, who is Fei Mo's ex-girlfriend. At that moment, his mother arrives, Mrs. Cheng, and rejects the proposal, since for some reason she does not like this girl, thus ending the meeting. Minutes later, she, together with her assistant, returns home and sees on television the news that Han Hui is returning to China, so she comes up with a plan for her son to meet more women. Despite this, he seems uninterested in anyone. That night, he goes out to eat with his friend and colleague Gu Yangshu at a traditional Chinese restaurant to grab a quick meal. Nevertheless, he heads to the bathroom, but by mistake he enters room 5203, where there is a drunk girl crying. There, she kisses him for no apparent reason, and the kiss reminds him of his ex, so he does not stop her at all. This girl is named Wen Xiaonuan, and she is an actress very similar to Han Hui, who works at the same company as Fei Mo. That afternoon, she was filming a commercial in a strawberry costume. At that moment, her boyfriend arrives, Zhang Feng. He is a very kind person, and he does not like seeing his girlfriend working all day, so he had an interview at Yao Hua's company, which he miraculously manages to get into. However, later she goes out to buy a brooch as a gift for her boyfriend and then goes to the plaza, and there she finds Zhang Feng kissing another girl. Her name is Zhang Linger, who, by the way, is the daughter of the Yao Hua president. Well, I suppose that is why she got the job. And so, after this discovery, Xiao Nuan, alone and heartbroken, goes to drink at a restaurant. There she sees Fei Mo, but since the alcohol completely scrambled her mind, she kisses him thinking he's Zhang Feng. It is all a misunderstanding. Luckily, Zhenshu manages to get him out of that situation. Besides, he informs him that his latest movie has been leaked on the internet, which means it will be an enormous loss of money at the box office. So Yao Hua will be in trouble, just like the theater used for the filming. Next morning, Xiao Nuan receives a call from her boss, Xiao Kai, who is worried because he needs to gather 1 million yuan, otherwise they will lose the theater, which, by the way, belongs to Xiao Nuan's family. Because of this, she acts in different movies. However, she ends up injured and without much money. That same afternoon, she finds an announcement from the famous Fei Mo, which says that he's looking for the girl he met that night. It is her, but of course she does not remember anything because she was so drunk. However, Mrs. Cheng takes advantage of the opportunity, and with Jun Shu's help, they manage to send her assistant, named Xiao Jing, to speak with Xiao Nuan and propose a great job to her, pretending to be Fei Mo's girlfriend. Of course, she is going to be paid well for it, but despite that, she turns it down. That night, Xiao Kai calls her again and informs her that they are removing their things from the theater, so she, having no other options, ends up deciding to accept the job. And you already know what they say, every morning is a new opportunity. The next day, she meets with Xiao Jing, who gives her a form full of information about Fei Mo so that she can study it very well. That same night, Xiao Jing calls her in an emergency, since Fei Mo is sick and requires a nurse. So Xiao Nuan must pretend to be that nurse. So the next day, she shows up at his mansion, and he, upon seeing her, recognizes that she is the girl from that time and gets very close to her, as if he wanted to kiss her. Although Fei Mo wanted to see her again, he tells her that she must do her job as a nurse, so he makes her look for a first aid kit so that she can examine him. She, with little knowledge of medicine, tries to help him. So he takes the opportunity to ask her if she happens to have a birthmark on her shoulder, to which she replies that she does not. This seems to bother him a lot, so he starts treating her rudely. And when he realizes that she is not really a nurse either, he does not hesitate for even a second to throw her out of his house. Desperate, Xiao Nuan calls Xiao Jing to ask for the front door password so she can get back inside. However, Xiao Jing tells her that she must find a way to get in on her own. So Xiao Nuan, determined not to give up, uses her knowledge, puts makeup powder on the panel, and blows, thus managing to figure out the code to enter the property. She may not have knowledge of medicine, but she could easily get into the Central Intelligence Agency. However, to get into the house, she also needed another password. Nevertheless, she could not use the powder technique again. Oh, darn. Because of this, it occurs to her to disguise herself as a delivery worker to pretend she is bringing a package. So she knocks on the door and gets into the suitcase as soon as she hears some noise. At that moment, someone opens the door to grab the suitcase and takes it inside the house. And when she notices that someone is opening the suitcase, Xiao Nuan sits up screaming with excitement, only to realize that she is in a police station next to the police chief, who tells her that he has already had to deal with this situation millions of times. Faced with this, Xiao Nuan replies that she's not a fan, but an ex-wife who wants to return home. With this story, the policeman feels sorry for her and gives her a ladder so that she can climb up through the windows. This drama really looks hilarious. And so, with this ladder, she manages to climb up to the balcony that leads to Fei Mo's room, but unfortunately for her, he was wearing only a towel, and Xiao Nuan blushes a little when she sees him almost naked, and he quickly throws her out of the house again along with the police. The only problem is that it starts raining very hard, and Xiao Nuan cannot go back home, so she walks down the street while getting soaked. On the other hand, that pig Zhang Fang is together with his now fiancée, Zhang Linger, looking for a wedding venue, now that he is Yao Hua's new production director and has a lot of money and prestige. The benefits that come from dating the boss's daughter, right? However, he does not look very excited about this wedding, to say the least. Going back again to Xiao Nuan, she is found crying in the rain. If she cannot gather the money, she will lose everything her family has fought for. Everything. So she decides to return to Fei Mo's house and try one last time. Meanwhile, although it may seem contradictory, he looks a little worried about her, so he heads to the entrance to check the security cameras and sees her walking near his gate. At that moment, Zhang Fang appears alone in a car. When he sees her, he gives her his umbrella and his jacket. She is now crying inconsolably and yells at him for having gone off with his lover, but he tells her that he does not want to break up with her, but rather that he did all of this so that she would never have to work again in her life. Besides, he tells her to forget about the theater so that they both can have a dream life with his lover's money. Promising. At that moment, Zhang Linger calls him, and then Xiao Nuan decides to break up with him for good. Good decision. And Fei Mo sees this emotional moment in full thanks to the security cameras, so he runs out of his house, but he does not see anyone, so he decides to go back inside. Next morning, he goes out to the entrance, and there he finds Xiao Nuan lying there and with a fever. When he sees her in that state, he carries her and lays her on his sofa and tries to wake her up. However, she does not answer him. Then, Xiao Nuan moves and accidentally falls on top of him, so she almost kisses him. Minutes later, now recovered, she gets up and realizes that she is once again in Fei Mo's house, which makes her extremely happy. But let's not celebrate too soon, because he tells her that as soon as she recovers, she has to go home. Even so, she takes the opportunity to stay as long as possible. She even unpacks her things and fixes up a room for herself. Later, Fei Mo sees her all dressed up, so he figures that she is cured and tells her that she has to leave now. Because of this, she decides to prove to him that she is still sick, and for that, she places the thermometer on a lamp so that it obviously heats up and then shows it to him. Nevertheless, he notices and tells her again to leave. This time, she tells him that if she leaves, his mother will bring another girl and then another, and so on. Persuasive girl. Since he does not want to see any more women either, he decides to accept her, provided she does everything he wants, such as cooking meals for him. So at that moment, he sends her out to shop for lunch and asks her for several sophisticated dishes that she had never heard of. At that moment, she goes out to buy the ingredients, but she has no idea how these foods are prepared. So she calls Xiao Kai, her brother by the way, so that he can tell her what to do. He, of course, advises her to take the easy road and buy the food already made. That is exactly what she does. And when she serves it to Fei Mo, he quickly notices that it is street food, so he tells her no, that she has to prepare it herself. Because of this, Xiao Nuan heads to the supermarket this time. However, Jia Ji calls her to ask her for a favor. It is that she go film a scene for a movie since she had an accident on the way. So Xiao Nuan runs off to film, leaving the groceries at the supermarket. Upon arrival, she learns that her scenes are with Zhang Linger and involve kicking her maid, played by Xiao Nuan, out of the house. How humiliating. She is forced to endure this public degradation while on the film set. Given this, she takes the opportunity to hit her again and again. But Jun Shu, who is at the location, upon seeing what is happening, calls Fei Mo to stop the recording. Despite this, he decides to record one last time, so Xiao Nuan places her handkerchief on the floor right where Zhang Linger stands, and when she sees that she is getting into position, Xiao Nuan removes the handkerchief, making her fall. Meanwhile, Fei Mo calls the boss to have him change Zhang Linger from the leading role. Back at the recording, Zhang Linger looks for Xiao Nuan to slap her for having made her fall. However, our protagonist this time grabs her by the arm, threatens to hit her, and tells her to leave her in peace, only to later return home and realize that she left everything at the supermarket. So he decides to prepare a delicious soup with what he has in the kitchen. Although it is nothing like what he wanted, Fei Mo decides to try it and is magically teleported to a memory on the beach where he ate a similar soup. With this, he eats everything that is left on the plate and even asks for more. So she turns around to look for more soup, and he approaches to move her hair from her shoulder to see the birthmark. In that, he discovers that there is nothing there, which makes him get annoyed again because she is not his ex. Someone call a psychologist. The next day, Fei Mo ignores Xiao Nuan completely, although it does not seem to bother her much. At that moment, Jun Shu arrives to speak in secret with his companion. She stays at a distance, but decides to prepare some tea and take it to both of them. However, she spills the tea on Fei Mo's pants, which makes him get much angrier. During the meeting, the two men talk about a business matter. Nonetheless, their conversation could be misinterpreted since several times they talk about their relationship, so Xiao Nuan suspects that both of them have some type of romantic relationship. To this, she buys a man's costume and approaches Fei Mo to seduce him. He was asleep, but upon seeing her, he does not get angry, but rather begins to seduce her as well. He even takes her by the tie and leans in to kiss her. However, she pulls away, causing him this time to ask her to leave. The next day, Jun Shu calls Fei Mo to notify him that the share price has dropped a little. Furthermore, he notifies him that Zhang Fang wants to speak with him, although both know that speaking with him could bring problems to the company. Nevertheless, Fei Mo is determined to listen to his proposal. After a few minutes, Zhang Fang calls him, and Fei Mo, upon seeing him, realizes that he is Xiao Nuan's ex-boyfriend, for which, apparently jealous, he prefers not to speak for a long time with him and in any case not to listen to the proposal he might have. At that moment, Xiao Nuan comes down, so Fei Mo turns off Zhang Fang's camera so that she cannot see him, although he can see them. Therefore, Fei Mo begins to seduce her while Zhang Fang could only watch the situation indignantly. Seconds pass until Fei Mo cuts the call, and now he does ask Xiao Nuan to go away, as is customary. Later, Zhang Fang meets with his partner, Mr. Lin, who tells him they must defeat Ainin culture once and for all. That way, Yao Huahua will finally become the greatest film company in all of China, securing their dominance in the industry. The both decide to join forces to defeat them. So the next morning, Mr. Lin hands some documents to Zhen Shu, but he tells him to go to Fei Mo's house so that he can sign the documents. When Mr. Lin arrives at the house, Fei Mo quickly reads the document and signs it. Additionally, he notices that he watches Xiao Nuan a lot, so he calls her to flirt with her at that instant so that he sees them. However, when he leaves, Fei Mo goes back to pushing her away, something that should no longer surprise us. Minutes later, Mr. Lin calls Zhang Fang to tell him that they will not be able to get close to Fei Mo since they have guards 24 hours a day. Even so, both decide to use Xiao Nuan as bait. Returning to Fei Mo, he shows himself to be serious before her, although he cannot deny that he loves her food, so he always takes advantage when she does not see him to eat everything she prepares. Minutes later, she receives a call from Mrs. Shen, in which she asks her if they have fought lately and asks her to be understanding in case he is aggressive. Yes, of course, ma'am. Xiao Nuan enters into confidence and tells her that he is a narcissist, abnormal, ill-mannered, and disrespectful, which makes his mother laugh, but he, upon hearing it, gets very annoyed, so he tells her to leave his house immediately again. Nonetheless, she throws a piece of apple at his chest, causing him strong pain and discomfort. And with this ending so open and strange, the first part of this summary ends. If you want to know if Fei Mo is allergic to apples or if he suffers from some strange illness, you will have to wait for the next video. Subscribe and turn on notifications to find out when it arrives. Bye-bye!